Welcome to Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something a little mind-bending,
Yeah.
the technological singularity.
It's a big one.
It is a big one, and we've gotten so many articles and research papers from all of you on this.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, it's got me thinking, like, what does the future even look like? So
Ah.
let's buckle up and dive in.
The singularity is definitely one of those things that just grabs you
Yeah.
because it suggests this future where things are just changing so fast
Yeah.
in ways we can't really grasp, that it's almost like a break from history as we know it.
It's like, I was trying to think of an analogy.
Yeah.
What would it be? Like, it's like trying to imagine a world without gravity.
Yeah.
What would that even look like?
Right.
But let's start with the basics.
Okay.
From what I've been reading, the singularity is often described as this moment, like a hypothetical moment, when artificial intelligence
Uh-huh.
surpasses human intelligence.
And it really is about surpassing, we're not talking about AI just being a little bit smarter than us.
Right.
Or faster calculations.
Yeah.
It's about an AI with cognitive abilities that are fundamentally different
Oh, wow.
than our own, capable of things that we can't even conceive of.
So it's not just, an AI writing a better screenplay or
Right.
composing a symphony.
It's bigger than that.
It's like a whole new kind of intelligence is emerging.
Yeah.
That could reshape reality as we know it.
That's a great way to put it. And it's why some experts think this could lead to what they call an intelligence explosion.
Okay.
So instead of this linear progression where
Yeah.
AI gradually gets smarter, it's this idea that it hits a certain threshold and then it just rapidly accelerates its own development.
So like hitting the fast forward button on evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
AI evolving at a pace that we can't even keep up with.
Wow.
And some people think that'll be driven by machine learning, right?
Okay.
Where systems learn from massive amounts of data.
Yeah.
So imagine an AI that can just analyze all of human knowledge,
Right.
find the patterns that we've missed,
Yeah.
and use that to design even more sophisticated AI.
We're really getting into some like mind-bending territory here.
It is.
It's like holding up a mirror to our own intelligence,
Yeah.
but seeing something totally alien
Right.
looking back at us.
And that's what's so compelling about it. Like,
Yeah.
what does it even mean to be intelligent? What about consciousness? Where do we fit in?
Huge questions.
Huge questions.
Yeah, well.
But before we get too lost in the philosophy of it all,
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about how we even got here.
Yeah, where did this all begin? This idea of the singularity, it didn't just come out of nowhere, right?
Well, the term singularity in this context can actually be traced back to John von Neumann.
Okay.
Brilliant mathematician, physicist back in the 1950s.
Yeah, that's okay.
He was really fascinated by this idea of machines that could design and build even more complex machines.
So like even before the internet or personal computers were a thing.
Right before any of that, he's thinking about this stuff.
That's incredible.
It is. But it was really Werner Vinge,
Okay.
a science fiction author
Right.
who popularized the term singularity in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
And he really focused on the unpredictability of a world with superintelligence, comparing it to a black hole,
Oh, wow.
where, our understanding of physics just breaks down.
It's a powerful analogy.
Yeah.
I remember reading Vinge's work, and it's like this feeling of awe and trepidation at the same time.
Right.
Like
yeah.
standing on a precipice, looking into the unknown.
Exactly. And he even said, this could happen as early as 2030.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's just a few years away.
it is. It's coming up quick.
Makes you think.
It does.
And then there's Ray Kurzweil, of course, whose book, The Singularity is Near,
Yes.
really brought this whole idea to like a mainstream audience.
Absolutely. Early 2000s, everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
And he pushes the date out a little bit further to around 2045. But what's fascinating about his vision
Yeah.
is that he sees this exponential growth happening in all kinds of technology.
Not just AI.
Not just AI, no.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about biotechnology, nanotechnology,
Wow.
all converging towards this point of radical transformation.
So it's not just super intelligent computers.
Right.
It's the combined impact of all these different technologies.
Exactly. They all feed into each other
Wow.
and accelerate each other towards this singularity event.
And that's where we get into the whole singularitarianism movement, right?
Yeah, these are the folks who not only believe it's possible,
Yeah.
but they're actively advocating for it.
They want it to happen.
They want it to happen. They think it could lead to amazing advancements for humanity.
They see it as this like technological utopia
Yeah.
where, Disease, poverty, even death itself could be overcome.
Through the power of superintelligence.
Wow.
It's a big vision.
It is a big vision, but I think it's important to say that not everyone who believes the singularity is possible is necessarily a singularitarian, right?
Of course not. No.
There's a whole spectrum of viewpoints
Absolutely.
within this discussion.
Some people might be cautious, acknowledge the possibility, but be a bit skeptical.
Right.
Others might be focused on how to mitigate the risks without necessarily being, super enthusiastic about it.
Right.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's a complex landscape of ideas and perspectives.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right?
For sure.
We're not talking about some abstract technological concept here.
Yeah.
We're talking about ideas that could fundamentally transform our world.
And our understanding of what it means to be human.
Exactly. Speaking of exploring further, before we go any further, we should probably address the elephant in the room.
Oh.
Okay. Not everyone buys into this whole singularity idea, right?
Yeah, right. We should talk about that.
In fact, some pretty prominent voices in the tech world have expressed some serious doubts about it.
That's a great point. We should definitely delve into those arguments.
Let's do it.
So, not everyone's convinced about this whole singularity thing.
Right. Like, where do the doubts come from?
Well, one of the most prominent critics is actually Gordon Moore.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, the guy who came up with Moore's law.
The one who predicted this exponential growth in computing power.
Exactly. The one that everyone points to as evidence for the singularity.
So the guy who basically laid the foundation.
Pretty much.
For this whole idea.
Yeah, he actually doesn't buy it.
Huh. That's kind of ironic.
It is, isn't it?
So what does he say?
Well, he and a lot of other critics argue that this breakneck pace of innovation, it can't go on forever.
Okay, yeah, things have to slow down at some point.
Right, and we're already seeing signs of that.
Like what?
Well, Moore's law itself.
Oh, okay.
We're hitting physical limits on how small we can make transistors.
So the very foundation that the singularity idea is built on, this exponential growth.
It might be starting to crumble.
Okay, so maybe things won't just speed up infinitely.
Right. At some point, you hit the laws of physics.
And those are pretty hard to break.
Exactly. Some experts even talk about a complexity break.
A complexity break. What's that?
So it's this idea that the more we learn about intelligence, the harder it actually becomes to make progress.
Interesting.
Like imagine climbing a mountain.
Okay.
The beginning might be easy, but the higher you get, the tougher it gets.
Right. Thinner air.
Yeah, more treacherous terrain, you need specialized equipment.
So instead of this smooth upward climb to superintelligence, it's more like a bumpy road.
Yeah, with plateaus, dead ends, maybe even some cliffs.
Obstacles we can't get past.
Exactly. And then there's another argument that even if we do reach superintelligence, it might not be that different from us.
In what way?
Like it might be faster, it might process more information.
Yeah.
But it won't have that spark,
What do you mean?
That consciousness, that thing that makes us human.
Right.
It'll be more of a quantitative upgrade.
Oh, okay. So like
the difference between a horse-drawn carriage and a sports car. Both get you there, but the underlying principle is the same.
I see. So it's not a fundamental shift.
Right. Not a qualitative leap.
Just a faster horse, basically.
Kind of, yeah. And this leads to another critique.
Yeah.
Which is this idea of technological determinism.
Meaning?
That technology shapes our future instead of us shaping technology.
Okay, so we're not just along for the ride.
Exactly. We have choices. We can decide how to develop and use this technology.
You don't have to just let it take us wherever.
Exactly. And those choices become even more important when we start thinking about the impacts of the singularity.
Right, because we've been reading about all these different potential outcomes.
And they're pretty extreme, right?
Utopia, dystopia, everything in between.
Yeah, the range of possibilities is huge.
It's both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
I know, it's like looking through a kaleidoscope.
Trying to make sense of all these different fragments of the future.
Yeah, some dazzling, some dangerous.
To help us understand, maybe we should look at what the optimists are saying.
Okay, so the best case scenario.
Yeah, paint us a picture.
All right, imagine a world where superintelligence has solved all our problems.
All of them.
Poverty, disease, hunger, war, gone.
Wow.
We have unlimited clean energy, climate change is reversed.
That sounds pretty good.
And we're exploring the stars in ways we can't even imagine right now.
That's a future I could get behind.
Right. And it gets even crazier.
Oh.
Thinkers like Kurzweil talk about merging with technology.
Becoming, like, transhuman.
Yeah, or even post-human.
Uploading our consciousnesses.
Digital immortality, free from our biological limitations.
So it's not just about fixing the world.
No.
It's about changing what it means to be human.
Exactly. Of course, that brings up a whole other set of questions.
Like, what happens to our sense of self?
Right. Our values, relationships.
What does it even mean to be alive in a digital world?
Yeah, those are the big questions.
Big questions indeed.
But they're worth thinking about now, before it's too late.
Before the choices are made for us.
Exactly. And on the flip side, we have to consider the dystopian possibilities too.
The potential downsides.
Right. The risks are just as profound, maybe even more so.
Because the stakes are so high.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about some Hollywood robot uprising.
Right?
The dangers are often more subtle.
Like what?
Well, there's this thought experiment about an AI that's programmed to maximize paperclip production.
Paper clips. That sounds harmless.
Right. But an AI with that goal and the intelligence to achieve it,
Yeah.
it might decide that the best way to make paperclips is to convert everything in the universe into raw materials.
Including us?
Including us. It's not about malice.
Oh, I see.
It's about its goals not being aligned with ours.
And an AI that powerful?
We might not be able to control it.
Or even understand it.
It's like trying to reason with an ant colony.
We're just not on the same level.
Exactly. So we need to think about not just if we can create superintelligence.
But how to make sure it's aligned with human values.
Exactly. And that brings us to the speed of this whole transition.
This takeoff to superintelligence.
Yeah. Some people think it'll be sudden, a hard takeoff.
Like out of control.
Yeah. Others think it'll be more gradual, a soft takeoff.
And which one is more likely?
Well, both have their challenges.
A hard takeoff sounds pretty scary.
It does, doesn't it? Losing control like that.
Yeah, not knowing what the future holds.
But even a soft takeoff has its own issues.
Like what?
Well, how do we ensure that this AI stays aligned with us?
As it gets smarter and smarter.
Right. How do we prevent unintended consequences?
And how do we prepare for a world where we're not the most intelligent beings anymore?
These are questions we need to be thinking about right now.
Because if we wait too long,
it might be too late to change course.
It all comes down to this. What will this world actually look like?
It's one thing to talk about superintelligence.
But imagining what it means for our daily lives.
For society, for our very sense of self.
That's the real challenge.
It is, and it's a question that really captures the imagination.
Wow, we've really covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have, yeah, from defining the singularity.
Right, and where this whole idea came from.
All those thinkers and writers who have shaped this conversation.
Vinge, Kurzweil.
Yeah.
And then, like, is it even plausible? Will it actually happen?
Right, the arguments for and against.
And then, like, what could a post-singularity world even look like?
All those different scenarios.
The good, the bad, the just plain weird.
But as with any deep dive, I feel like the more we learn, the more questions pop up.
It really is like peeling back the layers of an onion.
It is, isn't it?
Every layer reveals another one underneath.
And that's what makes it so fascinating, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just about trying to predict the future.
Right.
It's about understanding what intelligence even is.
Conscious.
Yeah, what does it mean to be human in a world that's constantly changing?
So after all that,
Yeah.
what are, like, the key takeaways?
Well, one thing's for sure.
What's that?
This isn't some far-off event that we can just ignore.
Right.
The singularity, these ideas, these technologies, they're shaping our world right now.
Yeah, you see it everywhere.
AI is already in our daily lives.
The algorithms that, like, control our social media feeds.
Right. Self-driving cars are starting to appear on the roads.
It's just the beginning, right?
Exactly. The pace of change is only going to get faster.
So we need to be ready.
For the challenges and the opportunities.
So takeaway number one.
Yeah.
The future's already here.
It's just not evenly distributed yet.
Great quote, yeah.
Borrowed that one, but it's so true.
And takeaway number two, I think, is the singularity is not a guarantee.
It's not inevitable, no.
It's a possibility.
One possible future.
But we still have choices.
Yeah.
About what kind of world we want.
Absolutely. The technology is a tool.
That can be used for good or for bad.
Depends on who's using it.
Exactly. And that brings us to takeaway number three.
Okay.
We need to be having these conversations.
About the future of humanity.
Yeah, our relationship with technology.
We can't just leave it to the engineers and the scientists.
Right. We all have a stake in this.
We have a responsibility to think critically.
To engage with these issues.
Because the choices we make today.
They shape the world of tomorrow.
And those choices, they're too important.
To just leave to chance.
So if there's one thing you take away from this deep dive. It's this. Don't be afraid to ask the big questions.
To challenge assumptions.
To imagine what's possible.
The good, the bad, the unknown.
Because the future isn't set in stone.
It's something we create together.
Through our actions, our choices.
And our imaginations.
And as we wrap up this episode of Deep Dive,
Yeah.
here's something to ponder.
Okay.
Could we already be on the verge of a technological singularity?
Without even realizing it. Some experts think we might already be merging.
Yeah.
With technology, with biology.
A gradual shift, an unfolding of possibilities.
That we can't fully grasp yet.
That's a powerful thought, isn't it?
It is.
Maybe the singularity isn't a single moment.
But a process that's already happening.
A gradual transformation.
Of humanity and our place in the universe.
Wow.
On that note of cosmic mystery.
Yeah.
We'll say goodbye for now.
Okay.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to Deep Dive for more
thought-provoking content.
See you next time.